Okay, full disclosure, I do not know everything about the Mortal Kombat mythos, everything that goes on in the whole universe, that has been going on in the whole universe for like 30 years. I did play the original game on the Super Nintendo when I was very young. I remember trying to battle through the tournament and getting right to the end and then losing to the final boss pretty much every single time, and just how upsetting that was at the time, because back then you couldn't even save games properly. So yeah, anyone that's in their mid-30s that kind of remembers them sort of feelings will understand what I mean. But going through life, I knew about Mortal Kombat. I knew about a lot of the main characters. I know some bits about the whole world surrounding the Mortal Kombat tournament itself. It's just that it's not really a franchise that I've gravitated towards and have loved, growing up. I have seen clips of the movies from the 90s. I've not seen anything from the web series a few years back, but I thought, what better way to sort of dive into this than watching the 2021 version of Mortal Kombat? And much to the disagreement of much of the internet, from what I've seen over the last couple of days, a lot of people aren't happy with it. I'm not sure whether that's down to the story, the acting, the characters, or, the whole, like I say, the mythos around these characters. I'm not sure if all of that's together that are upsetting people, or if it's just one thing or multiple things. All I know is that I love this movie. I thought it was really, really good. Now, again, I didn't know anything about the mythos. From what I do know, the little pieces that I do know, and the little nods that they put into this movie, I did enjoy. The characters when they turn up, some of the things that they say, like fatality, and some of the deaths, like, just full spoilers, this is absolutely gory, this movie. It's so crazy, some of the things that they do, and some of the deaths that are in this film. It is seriously gory and unbelievable. But all the little things that all sort of tied together, I did enjoy. Now, the story is, that a lot of people may know, there are two realms. There is Earth realm, and there is the outer realm of I want to say aliens or gods or something, but basically they hold this tournament. It doesn't explain how often the tournament is held, but if Earth loses 10 times in a row, then the outer realm can come and take over Earth and, turn it into some kind of hell dimension sort of place. And Earth are currently losing 9-0. So the outer realm are going above and beyond to be like dastardly, and they want to kill off all of Earth's champions so that they don't really have to battle. And even if they do end up having a tournament, Earth don't really have any kind of representation, so they can just kind of have a clean sweep, win 10-0, and then take over. Now, during this, they send their sort of their best soldier, I suppose is the best way to describe it, who is Sub-Zero. Now, we all know who Sub-Zero is. He's a masked man who has the powers of ice. He's essentially Elsa from Frozen with, a bit of a temper. But yeah, he goes around and he's trying to stop Earth's champions, but they inevitably decide to fight back. But yeah, they all come together. They all realise that they have this symbol that is the sign that they are the chosen one of Earth's realm, and they are the chosen fighters to go ahead and fight in this Mortal Kombat tournament. But they don't really know much about it. They all kind of stumble across each other. That part was quite strange to me, how it all just kind of neatly wrapped up, and they ended up meeting and going along to find, this temple where they could train. It just so happened that one of the people they found, Kano, who is probably my standout from this movie. I think he was supposed to be very annoying. He's Australian and he's supposed to be very brash and very arrogant and very upsetting to the rest of the characters, but for some reason I really enjoyed that, and I thought he was probably the best character in this movie. Maybe that says more about me than anything else, but who knows. But yeah, he leads them to this temple where they decide to learn how to gain their powers that apparently they haven't discovered yet. Yeah, they're in their adulthood, and they haven't discovered that they have this. I think they call it an arcana, where you become so good at fighting, you come to peace with yourself, and you develop this power. One of them, he can throw fireballs. Is it Liu Kang? Another guy can throw a hat like a frisbee. Raiden, the big god, he has control over electricity, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and obviously on the bad side, like I say, Sub-Zero, he can control ice. There's a lady with fangs, another lady with wings, a guy that can run really fast who also knows Kano, which is weird. But yeah, they go to this temple and they decide to start learning their powers. But we're being told this story through the eyes of Cole Young. Now, from some research, from what I can tell, he is a completely made up character for this movie. He has not appeared in any of the games, from what I know. But yeah, he can't quite get a hang of it. He can't quite get his powers. Kano gets a laser eye beam. Jax, who's got these really bad metal arms because Sub-Zero broke his arms off. His arcana, he finally comes to the point where he's at peace with his skills, and his metal arms get better. I'm not really sure what his power would have been if he didn't have metal arms, which is quite strange. That's one to kind of think about, isn't it? The other, I can't remember the lady's name, but her power is some kind of laser beam that comes from her arm after she kills Kano. Apparently, if you kill someone else that's in the tournament, you get a power. You know, what's the point of all the training? But yeah, I mean, from those little things that I've just explained, and as weird as they sound and as tacky as it sounds, all of that was very enjoyable. The whole story kind of goes through. It's very smooth. It gets from beat to beat to beat very easily. Again, it's quite tacky, but you know, it's giving you what you want, I'm assuming, as a Mortal Kombat fan. Again, I don't know if the fans are upset because of some things that they didn't put in or that they did put in. I'm not 100% sure, but I found it quite interesting. I found it quite, I was going to say believable. It's not believable. It's completely ridiculous, this whole concept. But yeah, I found it enjoyable throughout. I mean, the way that it's an old movie trope where you have to, if you want to get to that point and you want to be powerful and you've got to come to terms with your powers, you have to, you know, go through this sort of emotional turmoil. That sort of thing is quite tacky, but in this movie it kind of works. Cole Young decides, because he can't get his powers, he goes off back to live with his family, and he gets attacked by Goro, the big four-armed sort of monster thing, which I do recognise from the games. Like I say, a lot of these characters I do recognise from the time that I did play it, but there's also characters that have been introduced in the last 30 years that I don't know anything about. You know, the main ones are Sub-Zero and Scorpion. We'll get to him. But yeah, Cole, his family come under attack from Goro, and he finally discovers his power, which he can make armour just suddenly appear all over his body, and he's got a knife and a stick, which is pretty cool. He does have a pretty good fight with Goro. But yeah, when all the bad guys sort of descend upon the good guys to, you know, wipe them out, because they finally come to the point of emotional stability, shall we say, and they use their powers and they fight back, and it's the fight scenes are incredible. Some of the action in this movie is just mind-blowing. The storyline may not be the best thing in cinematic history, but it's definitely enough to get you from fight scene to fight scene to fight scene, and it's, in my eyes, it's done well enough where it didn't really bug me that much. I didn't really hate it. You know, there's a few little things in there, like I say, where you're a bit like, that's a bit weird. But yeah, altogether, I think it was very interesting. Now, the story of Scorpion, like I say, going back to it, again, he's one of the most infamous characters in the whole of this sort of universe, him and Sub-Zero together. Sub-Zero, hundreds of years ago, kills a man's family. I can't remember his name, I do apologise, but he kills his family and then kills him, because he doesn't want any part of him in this tournament. And he goes to hell for a number of years, and it turns out that Cole Young is a descendant of the man that Sub-Zero killed. And when he uses his ancestor's knife, and he gets his blood on this knife to mix with the guy's blood, he becomes Scorpion, and he comes out of hell. And again, we all know who Scorpion is, you know, get over here. And he wears yellow to sort of mask Sub-Zero and sort of say, this is what you wear, but I'm wearing yellow because you're a coward and what you did was unbelievable. Now come together and beat Sub-Zero, because apparently Sub-Zero is the strongest out of all of them. I guess the way they present him in this movie, he is, but I'm not sure why he had to be the strongest. You know, it would have been interesting to see them all going up against Goro. But yeah, like I say, all the fight scenes are great. All of the deaths, the fatalities are insane. Fatality. They are crazy, and the majority of this movie, it's very rare when I'm watching a movie and I actually make noise. But with this, I was like, oh wow, like, you know, I was swearing like, oh, you know, I'm not going to swear, but just ridiculous some of the things that happened. The guy with the frisbee hat that I said about, he threw it in the ground and it was turning around like a buzzsaw, and he jumped on a lady's back and drove her into this buzzsaw, and she just got cut in half. And then he stands up and says, fatality. Bit on the nose, bit cringy, but for some reason I loved it, and it really worked for that moment. And it's these little things and these little callbacks to the original Mortal Kombat that I remember is why I enjoyed this movie. I have not, like I say, I've not seen the originals from the 90s, so I don't know. I know that they're bad for a lot of different reasons, but I also know that some people look on them fondly because of what they are and what they represent. But I'm not sure why this movie is getting as much hate as that, considering I think that this movie is incredible. I hope there's a sequel. I'm looking forward to a sequel. You know, there's a few rumours about some people that are going to be in this. Johnny Cage, one of the big ones. I want him to be in the next movie, because if rumours are true, it's going to be The Miz from WWE, who I love, and I think he's a great actor, a great person, a great character, and I think he would embody that role perfectly from what I know of that character. But yeah, all in all, I thought it was great. I really did. I apologise to anyone out there that did not like this movie and disagrees with me. But again, I do not know the lore. I do not know the mythos of the whole Mortal Kombat universe. So I don't know if this is good or bad compared to that. In my eyes, as a movie, as an action movie, as a sci-fi sort of kung fu flick, I loved it. I thought it was great. I honestly enjoyed it. I want to know what you think, though. Please let me know down in the comments down below why I'm wrong, if I'm wrong. And let's have a healthy conversation about it. Let me know what it is about the Mortal Kombat lore that I'm missing, that is not represented in this movie, is not covered in this movie, is not what this movie has done wrong to upset a lot of people. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that do love this movie as well. I know there's a whole host of Mortal Kombat fans out there that think this movie is great and it's deserving of its title. But I want to know from them, and I want to know from the people that don't like it. I want to know what's going on. Feel free to like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below, please. But yeah, this has been my review of Mortal Kombat, which again I loved. I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.